Okay, so this is the story about the time I met Jessica Alba. So I was a ship hand on an old cruiser in the Pacific. We stopped at this island. And on this island, there were no people. But we found a little hole in the ground. And me and the mates, my favorite mate, his name was Jeffery Davis. He was about 23, fresh off the dock. Didn't know a thing about sailing. Especially not sailing against the Germans, but like, he was a good guy. He knew his stuff. And so Jeffrey and I were walking along the beach. We're taking a little bit of shore leave here. And we just stop at this hole and we just know something's up. So, because there are some sticks arranged as if by nature, but clearly by human hands around the hole. So I say to Jeffrey, let's go down that hole. Let's do it, man. And Jeffrey just looks at me. He says, Paul, I'm not going down that hole. I'm not. Can't do it. And I say, why, Jeffrey? And he says, I've had many an adventure down a hole like that, but my adventuring days are over and now I'm a sailor. For most of my short lifetime, I've just gone down those holes, followed them down, seen where they go, and there's never anything at the bottom. Except bears. Bears and wolverines. And I'm not facing another bear. Now, you may tell me, Paul, that there are not bears or wolverines on this little island. Like, bear or wolverine would have to swim for hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of miles to get on this little island, but just psychologically, just too much. And I put my hand on his shoulder and said, okay, Jeffrey, I understand. But will you at least shine your flashlight down so I can see what's in there? So Jeffrey takes out his flashlight. He whips it out. Just, he's ready to go. Just like that. And shines it down. And just darkness. And he says, don't do it, man. And I say, Jeffrey, I've been a sailor for over 15 years. Never seen a hole like this. I'm going down that hole. And so I go down the hole. Starts out narrow, gets wider, splits off into 3 bits. I'm thinking, which bit am I going to go down? They're all much narrower. They're maybe 4 feet in diameter. I'm crawling on my hands and knees, just trying to get through this hole, and I come to this little enclosure. I go through the left one. I come to this little enclosure, and there's a little hole in the ceiling, a little bit of light coming through, and little dust particles swimming around in that light. And I find this note, and it's mostly just chicken scratch, but it has a map, and the map shows a diagram of this little, this what is it? What's that term for a lot of islands? Starts with an A. Archipelago. And it draws a little line from this island up to another island. About maybe 1.5 miles, nautical miles, north by northwest of this island. We're right by Fiji. Just a little island chain by Fiji. And so I say to Jeffrey, break out that dinghy. We're going to this island. And Jeffrey says, Paul, I will break out that dinghy for you. It was a brave thing you did going in that hole. And I say, yeah, break out the dinghy. So he breaks out the dinghy, literally breaks it out, because we'd have to get captain's permission to unlock it from the ship. Break out the dinghy, get in the dinghy, row it 1.5 nautical miles north by northwest. And let me tell you, a nautical mile is nothing like an actual mile. A nautical mile is much longer. You don't fuck around with nautical miles. And so we were dog tired by the time we got to this little island. And at first we think, well, that was a waste of 1.5 nautical miles worth of rowing. We are on this deserted island, and then we see just a wisp of smoke. And Jeffrey says, let's follow that smoke. Jeffrey's really businessman-like when it comes to exploring. He's been exploring for ages, and he just knows what to do. He mostly has been doing hole exploring, and so this is out of his areas of expertise. This is out of his comfort zone for him. Even though he's not comfortable going in holes anymore. Jeffrey, something like that. But Jeffrey Davis just knows how to explore in general, even if he's out of his element on this island. So I say, Jeffrey, let's go. Follow that smoke. And there's this little hut there. An old crone is stirring up a pot in this hut. And so we approach, and the old crone speaks to us in some language that we don't understand. But it doesn't even matter, we know what she's saying. We look in the pot, and the pot isn't a pot at all. It's the entrance to another hole. So I say to Jeffrey, I don't know what's in that pothole, and you don't either. But I want to find out. And so the only way we're going to find out is if you whip out that flashlight one more time and just shine it down that hole, man. It's the only way. So he says, okay, Paul, one last time. For old time's sake. So he whips out that flashlight like no other. Never seen a man whip out a flashlight so fast. Shines it down that hall. What do I see? But another blackness. And I say, Jeffrey, I'm jumping down. And he says, okay, Paul, you do that. Jump down. I'm in this room. Steel room. Not what I expected. I was expecting a sand room. And there's a table and a chair and a cup of coffee and a lit cigarette and an ashtray. And sitting in that chair behind the coffee and the cigarette is Jessica Alba. None other. I just know it. So I say to Jessica Alba, what's up? My friend Jeffrey's upstairs. He can come down. And I say, Jeffrey, come down. It's Jessica Alba. And we talked for like 2 hours. And she's really cool. Jessica Alba's really cool.